Hello YouTube, this is the Atlanta Puzzler with part 3 on advanced Megaminx tutorial. Okay, so in part 1 we talked about the how to cut a Pyraminx crystal, and basically we varied the cut of the Megaminx by making it go through the center of the face of the Megaminx, if that makes sense. And then we increased the depth of the cut and we made it go through the vertex of the Megaminx, this vertex, and we left off where we made it go through this vertex, and we explained why both cuts are the same. And the only question we had is what happened if I increase the cut somewhere between basically this vertex and the bottom vertex, somewhere along this line here, the middle point of this edge. So we can increase our cutting profile. Let me remove this constraint, and I'm gonna click on this, and I'm gonna click on this and make them coincide real quick. And I guess that's enough. Maybe it needs to be lower. Let me take a look. Yeah, this might be okay. So let me go ahead and generate the puzzle. And to be honest, I'm gonna talk about this cut here, but I don't know if I don't want to elaborate too much because it's not something I'm too familiar with. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is not something I experimented with a lot. And what I'm hoping for is perhaps this is an area you're familiar with, and maybe you can elaborate. Um, it gives me this shape, and to be honest, I don't know what that is. I don't know if this is a valid puzzle. It looks like it. I mean, I'm not sure why somebody can make a dodecahedral puzzle with just corners and centers. I'm sure it has a name. I'll be surprised if somebody didn't design it. And if not, please let me know. Maybe it'll be interesting. But I'm pretty sure I've seen it before, and I think I don't know. I don't know if this is even a legible puzzle, but I wanted to point out that if you cut along the middle point of that face, you'll get this shape. But the other thing I noticed is I'm gonna delete this, and this is also another thing I'm not familiar with. If I lower my cut a little bit, so let's see this. Yeah, this is enough. Maybe a little bit more. It's a little sensitive. Okay, so let's think when I fiddled with it. Basically, let me add a dimension. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Let me push escape and delete this dimension. I'm trying to measure the distance between this and this, and it's saying 22.7. Okay, I think that's enough. Let me run it really quick and show you what happens. And basically, I'll get parallel lines traversing the entire dodecahedron. And I'm pretty sure this is the cut for the the Pentultimate. Yep, there we go. And I have never, to be honest, I have never designed a puzzle like this. I've never fiddled with it, and I've never um, um, I don't know if this is legible, I guess, or viable. I'm sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. I don't know if this is viable or if this is something that we can basically cut dodecahedron to get a pentultimate, but it sure does look like one. Now, of course, the mechanism is incorrect, but it's something I've always been planning on experimenting with and finding out more. So that's all I'm going to say about this cut. But basically, it is in the upper quarter. Let's go back to the sketch. It's in the uh, It's in the upper, the last quarter of the face of the puzzle. Let me go to the left face here real quick and rotate it accordingly. Okay, so if you cut here, you'll get a Starminx. If you cut here, you'll also get a Starminx. We talked about why. If you cut in the middle of, line up with the middle of this edge over here. So let's go back. I'm talking about this whole face, and I'm traveling up and down this line. So this is a Starminx, and this second point is some puzzle that I'm not familiar with. Anywhere in between these two, between this and this, is that Pentultimate. And if you line it up with this point at the face, you'll get a Pyraminx Crystal. And anywhere between this and this, you'll get the Megaminx, right? And this is how you generate the different cuts. Of course, I'm going to discuss the mechanisms in a subsequent video. But, I know these are a lot of different cuts, and I don't want to just verbally talk about it. I kind of sketch them together really quick and put them in a small, very primitive sketch. I think it's easier to read this way. I put this PDF inside the document. This way you can just, when you search, you can find this PDF. But basically, the Megaminx I would cut somewhere in the upper half of the puzzle. Obviously you want to cut around 1/4 of the way, 1/3. Otherwise, you're going to get a weird overlapping part on top of your edge. If you cut smack in the middle of the face, you'll get a Pyraminx Crystal. And if you cross this point here, these 2 points, you're going to get a Starminx. A Pentultimate is below this point. I didn't bother put that shape that we talked about somewhere here because I don't know the name of it. But I'll gladly change this sketch and add it if you tell me. And then for the Starminx, I also mentioned that going here is also a Starminx. So hopefully this is a good guide. It's also good for me to remember when I look at it. Okay, the last thing I was gonna talk about in this video is something called conical cuts, and I don't want to discuss them in details, and that's why I kind of want to mention them here. Perhaps we can talk about them in depth in another video. I just don't see a point of, I think it's too early to discuss them. But basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get my Megaminx back. I'm undoing the changes that we made, and I want to make sure this and this are parallel. I think they are. Okay, let's can I lower this more? Sorry, just give me a moment here. There we go. I guess here is enough. Okay, sorry, let's I'm gonna constrain this face and this line. Okay, originally we had the 7, and then one thing I want to do is this guy is constrained to be parallel to this upper surface, right? So you're always cutting, and what that means that the brim of your cutting profile is always going to be flush. Let's take a look. We should get our Megaminx back, and it should be flush. And I want to roll back this document to, okay, so we have the Megaminx. I want to roll it back to where we're creating the disk. So I'm going to do a roll to here. And what you'll see if I hide this, that this surface we talked about is exactly flat, right? Let's go back to the sketch, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this constraint. I don't want it parallel anymore. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to increase it. Oh, sorry. You need to delete this as well. And basically I'm going to make it slant. And when I do OK, What that does is it's going to create, instead of a disc, it's going to make a cone, a conical shape. I don't know if you can tell, but basically this is called, instead of a flat disc, which gives you what's called a cylindrical cut, this will give you a conical cut, and it looks like a cone. And I'm sure you can imagine now, if I increase the angle, let's make it, I don't know, very large. This is going to be straight up a cone. It's like you're training your pet or your dodecahedron. But anyways, this looks like a cone. Okay, so let me hide this real quick. I think you get the point. And what basically, obviously, you know why this is useful, because one, if I, sorry, I need to go here. If I increase the angle even more, where I'm gonna cross over into the top face and do OK, and I'm getting a circle. This is used to dig a circle. This is sort of like that puzzle that Greg has a long video, I think webcast, when he made a Starminx with a circle in it. Basically, he used this conical cut. But that's not the only application they're used for, but it's very useful for this. The other thing I was going to show you is, let's put this back, and let's select the face and this, and add an angle here. So when they're parallel, let's see, yeah, when they're parallel, the angle is 180. So this is 145. Maybe that's a little steep. Let's make this, I don't know, 150. That means this is a 30 degrees angle. And let me roll it to the end and see. Roll to end, and it's loading. Let's see what happens. I don't know if this is too aggressive of a cut. Maybe I should have moved it lower, but basically it gives you round cuts. This is what conical cuts do. They give you curves, or curved surfaces, or sorry, curved cuts. So a lot of the puzzles, like the what is it, like curvicopter, or the there are some clover puzzles, and other puzzles, they have those round cuts. It's either a straight like a straight up like circular cut, or a conical cut of some sort. But I'm not going to get too much in depth with these, because I don't mess around a lot with those cuts, conical cuts. But I just wanted to mention them, or talk about them a little bit, because they're very useful, and you will need them in other puzzles. So I think I'm gonna just put it back parallel, and get back the Megaminx. And I think I'm gonna end this video that talks about the I'm, I'm gonna have one more video in this series, but I'm gonna end this video right here. I want to talk about one more type of cut for a puzzle that's slightly different than everything we talked about, but it definitely is a very advanced topic. I just wanted to mention it briefly, and we'll have a dedicated series for it. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video as well, and if you have any questions or comments, please let me know, and I'll see you in the next video of this series. Thank you, and have a good night.